Hello, I'm Dibley and welcome to Dib's Yard. This is my 4mm scale 00 gauge, very small shunting layout. Started to be built with a thought of exhibiting it. However, obviously with COVID-19, this has kind of gone out the window very slightly. But I thought I'd just give a little introduction to this layout. Just so when you see the other videos, you know the context in what they're about. So the concept behind this layout is it's not prototypical. It's to provide me with some It's to provide me with some shunting fun, and yeah, it's just to provide sort of playability. I've got the idea from a couple of other YouTubers, seeing one of Jenny's shunting yards, and although it was very compact and possibly a little contrived, it was looked like it was quite fun to operate. And then also having seen Budget Model Railways, Mike there does some brilliant little layouts that are all about the fun and the operation of it, and that's what I'm trying to achieve, something that I can have good fun with. And I do want to sort of try and stretch my modelling skills as I go along. It's been a long time since I've had a layout. I was probably a teenager the last time, so now well at the wrong end of my 40s now. So it's been a while since I've done any of this. So I thought I'd have a go, because then maybe in a few years' time I can do something maybe a little bit more prototypical. But the idea of this layout is it's a little goods yard in the autumn of its life. It will also be themed in the autumn season. Now the yard originally was these sidings over here were probably sort of staging sidings for the creamery that would have been quite busy in its heyday. So we're probably looking around the sort of time where local creameries sort of started to die out. This one's just about holding in, so it's still got some rail traffic coming and going, but it's pretty well right at the end. Most of the other industry now tends to use, road for transport. For transporting their goods. So there is a tiny halt station platform there, still all very much in the work in progress. It's not going to actually have a station building, it's just going to be an open halt platform. That would probably have served the employees of the dairy and creamery, and maybe some of the other businesses would probably have along here. We're going to have maybe a few small little workshops and things like that. It was originally double track, but in the beaching cuts they ripped a load of the track out. It's now just a single branch line, and they've actually built in, they've used half the tunnel to build in a little bit of storage there, and at the other ends we've got a little bit of storage up there for the permanent way yard. So this is a permanent way yard. I was going to do it as a scrap yard, but hence why there's a weighbridge there. However, although on the plan it looked like I'd have lots of room, when it came to reality there is not a lot of room in here. So the siding here is just a private siding for the dairy. So this general works would probably be as the wagons need to be, as the wagons are loaded, they will then be taken up by the British Railways locomotive and put up into the probably put into this siding here. Full other goods vehicles that do come in will probably go on. There'll be a loading dock here, slightly, maybe something with a small canopy. Full wagons to be unloaded will probably be unloaded here. Then once they're finished, they'll probably be put on that lane or on that lane. So we've got a tiny little head shunt up there. Anyone who's a bit observant might notice that there's a particular length to these three sidings. It actually works. I can do a inglenook puzzle there, so I can fit 5 on here, 3 on there, and 3 on there. And it's just about enough room to be able to do the inglenook and still have something up here. So the idea up here, I'll probably have a a little cattle dock up here, and then I can have a cattle wagon there, still just about perform Inglenook puzzles. But if you want to make it a bit easier for someone who's having a go, then we can remove the cattle wagon from up there. I've got a tiny little, as you can see here, I've got a tiny little runaround loop, which is just about large enough to fit a wagon in, and you can see I've got little uncouplers. I'm only using tension. Oops, if I can get the right one. No, I've missed it. So you can see I've got some little uncouplers there. Oh, that one's stuck. Since ballasting, some of these have got. Oh, there we go. You can see it moving there. Some of them are a little bit sticky, but that should allow me to be able to run around a single wagon, because I would need to do that if I've got something on the dairy siding. Then to get it up onto those sidings over there, I need to be able to run around with the loco to get it up there. So this little portion here, as you can probably see, there's a little inspection pit and a little ash pit there. Again, not fully finished yet by any means. I'm just going to have a very basic wooden shelter type of thing, almost like a shack over the top of that rail. It never was originally an engine shed, as you can see, because it was part of a double track line before. There's a rather oversized water tower here, trying to show how, well, I say it's trying to show, I built it before I did the layout, so it's a bit oversized, but my story behind that and the excuse for it is because this was a bit more busy when the dairy was in the heyday. There was a lot of rail traffic coming through, so because the yard would have been quite a busy yard, although it's small, then it probably would have needed quite a bit of water. So okay, I'll just show you the controls panel. So the control is fully analog, done in the way that I remember as a teenager doing things with isolation sections, as you can see, all color coded, so I can turn every section on and off. I also have a rotary control there, because the idea is that the actual branch line can be fed from either end. So when at an exhibition, we can have someone feeding the yard with drop off or pick up goods, and then someone else can actually be doing the shunting with a little walkabout controller plugged in there. Although I've got some further plans for that. I'm going to have a permanent controller and then probably have the walkabout that will actually possibly just control the fiddle yards. So talking of fiddle yards, I haven't got a lot of room here, so the fiddle yard at this end is just about, if we look over the points, just about long enough to get an 060 in and be able to flick the points and go back the other end. The other end, the other fiddle yard is, oh, it's not there. No, because it's actually over here. So it's a very simple little fiddle yard, just 2 lanes, got isolating switches on there again, nothing particularly clever. Later on I will have a slightly larger one, because I found this is a little bit shrinky, or maybe if it just has a Y and doesn't have the additional Y down there, then it might not be so bad. Now you may be wondering, why have we got track both ends? Why have we got a point at both ends even? The idea is that this will be modular, so once this board is done, then I can go ahead and build another little module, probably about the same sort of size, maybe a distillery, maybe a scrapyard, something like that, and I would gradually just chain these together with small joining sections like that, so that you can run a small train in, stop it on stop it in the fiddle yard, run another one out type of thing. So that's kind of really the plan for that. What else have we got here? This is where the signal box would be. This is, as you can see, it's just a little plinth. There will be a little way in here with access up to the hall platform, similar to this end really. Just experimenting with a little ramp there. A few more little experiments with the 3D printer. I've got some aesthetic point rodding. Yeah, it's not prototypical, but it doesn't really matter. It gives the overall impression. If we just have a quick look down there, you can just see, it kind of looks like it from a distance. A blind, as my granddad would like to say, a blind man would like to see it. So, well, that's pretty well it really, I would say. most of the buildings, as you can see, obviously the one that covers the control panel, that's all scratch built with 3DK printed brick paper onto serial packet card and 1mm cardstock. The creamery is the lovely creamery from 3DK, so I will be continuing to build that, but it's very modified, it's very shrunk down, so it's not quite low relief, but it's almost low relief. So yeah, I've kind of brutalised it a little bit for my purposes, and obviously I've got little switches and things underneath there that I need to have access to for the points and for the isolators. So there we go. That'll probably do for a bit of an introduction. I probably rambled on long enough, and at some point I will start focusing on maybe some of the parts of the layout. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and yeah, feel free to keep an eye out for any more. There won't be any kind of regularity to it, because at the end of the day I've got a family and trying to fit a job and trying to fit everything else in, so it's not gonna, I'm not one of those channels where you'll see a new, you know, a new video out every Tuesday at 12 o'clock. I'm afraid if you see one in about 3 months, well, we're probably doing quite well, to be honest. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'm Dibley, this is Dib's Yard.